Hi, Phil here with a 2017 Ram 1500. We have this in today to upgrade both the low and high beam to our new SL1 LED headlight bulb for improved visibility. Installation requires a couple of basic tools and it'll take you about an hour. Let's go ahead and get started. Now it is necessary in this installation to remove the headlights from the truck. So we're going to need to remove both the grille and the shroud in order to access those. We'll start by loosening up the rivets that hold this guy in place with a plastic trim removal tool. I'll just simply kind of pop in here and loosen them up. And then once I have them loosened, simply pop the rivets out of the holes. Once removed, go ahead and set this to the side. With the shroud out of the way, we'll need to remove the 4 10mm bolts that hold the grille in place. With the bolts removed, you need to pull the grille straight out. Now start on the outsides, as there are a couple of tabs that hold it in place kind of right in the center here. Just pull those straight forward to loosen those. And then grab the grille and pull it straight on out. Now with the grille out of the way, you'll have access to the 2 10mm bolts that hold the headlight in place. Go ahead and loosen and remove those. Once you have the 2 bolts removed on the headlight, you'll also need to address the locking tab that's on the back side here. You'll access that through the door and the fender liner by pulling this straight back and pulling down to unlock, and we'll show you that here in just a second. Now from the factory, it's going to be in this down locked position, and what I had to do was reach in and push this up in order to let the headlight come out. Once you're done with the headlight assembly and you put it back in the truck, you'll reach back in and pull it back down to lock it back in place. Now that you have the headlight disconnected from the truck, you'll have access to the low beam and high beam bulbs. Now we're going to go ahead and disconnect ours to move to the tabletop to give you some better angles. We'll do that by twisting and pulling out the turn signal bulb and then disconnecting the main headlight connector. Now if you do this process, you'll need to pop this gray piece up with a flathead screwdriver or some sort of similar tool to loosen it. And then push up on the tab on the inside and then pull that connector straight out. Now that we have the headlight out of the truck, we can go ahead and access both the low and the high beam bulbs. We'll simply twist the dust cap and set it aside. And then we're going to go ahead and remove the stock bulbs. Now in this particular case, we're doing both the high and the low beam. If you're doing the same thing, you'll need to route some wiring, which I'm going to show you here in just a second. If you're only doing the low, then obviously you're only going to take care of this bulb and leave this one intact. But as I said, since we're doing the high beam, we're going to need to make room for the anti-flicker module. To do so, we're going to need to feed this wire back through behind the bezel here, up towards the low beam side. Can be a little bit tricky, so take your time, make sure you get the wiring in there as clean as possible. Once you have your high beam wire moved into the side, you'll be able to connect your anti-flicker modules. Now the high beam being the black connector and the low beam being this white connector. Simply take your anti-flicker module, connect it to the signal wire, and feed it back behind the housing. And then you want to take this side and run it back through to the high beam connector. Once you have your anti-flicker module ran back over to the high beam location, simply connect your SL1 LED headlight bulb, making sure the positive is lined up with the red and the ground is lined up with the black. Snap that guy into place, and then simply feed this connector into the housing along with the driver. line up the tabs and twist to lock into place. You can now go ahead and return the dust cap. To seal that portion of the headlight back up. Now the low beam is a little bit easier since there's a little bit more room here. We'll simply again connect the anti-flicker module. And then connect your SL1 LED headlight bulb, again lining up the positive and the ground with the red and the black wire. Feed the connector back in as well as the anti-flicker module. Insert the bulb. Lock it into place and return the dust cap. Now that we have our bulbs installed, we're going to go ahead and reconnect it to the truck and test to make sure everything's up and running. Once you've done so, you can actually return this back and lock it back into place. Repeat the process on the other headlight. Return your grille and your shroud to complete your installation. Now that you have your SL1 LED headlight bulbs installed, you'll have increased visibility and a more modern appearance thanks to the cool white color temperature. For more information on this product, visit us at diodedynamics.com or use our dealer locator to find a dealer near you. Thanks for watching.